I am told that you and your disciples are searching for me. As it happens, I am now on the Yamamoto High Road, my intention being to travel around the general area of Iga and Isa for about a year to continue my study of swordsmanship. I do not wish to change my plans at this time, but since I regret as much as you do that I was unable to meet you during my previous visit to your school, I should like to inform you that I shall certainly be back in the capital by the first or second month of next year. Between now and then, I expect to improve my technique considerably. I trust that you yourself will not neglect your practice. It would be a great shame if Yoshioka Kempo's flourishing school were to suffer a second defeat like the one it sustained the last time I was there. In closing, I send my respectful wishes for your continued good health. Shimon Miyamoto Musashi Masana. Though the letter was polite, it left little doubt as to Musashi's confidence in himself. Having amended the address to include not only Sejiro, but all the disciples in the school, he laid down his brush and gave the letter to Jotaro. So this chapter is called The Water Sprite. And in Japanese folklore, a water sprite refers to the kappa, a Japanese river monster, a type of imp like yokai. It's known for its mischievous and sometimes malevolent behavior. From what I know, it's a river child. It's a water deity. And this introduces us to Jotaro, a young child that is Musashi's first disciple / pupil. He wants to learn from Musashi as he's gaining a reputation as an experienced warrior. There's a few inklings of symbology here, but the main thing that I want to cover in this chapter is the essence of life. Society is not in a good place, I think. In 2025, it's an odd place to be alive. And I want to read something here from this chapter, and it's a reflective contemplation on Musashi's part about life. And here we go. The storm had passed as if wiped away, and the breeze brushed gently against Musashi's skin, quite unlike the fierce wind of the day before. Kamo River was up, the water muddy. At one end of the wooden bridge at Sejiro Avenue, samurai were examining all the people who came and went. Asking the reason for the inspection, Musashi was told it was because of the new shogun's impending visit. A vanguard of influential and minor feudal lords had already arrived, and steps were being taken to keep dangerous, unattached samurai out of the city. Musashi himself, a Ronin, gave ready answers to questions asked and was allowed to pass. The experience set him to think about his own status as a wandering, masterless warrior, pledging neither to the Tokugawas nor to their rivals in Osaka. Running off to the Sekigahara and taking sides with the Osaka forces against the Tokugawas was a matter of inheritance. That had been his father's allegiance, unchanged from the days when he served under Lord Shimon of Iga. Toyotomi Hideyoshi had died 2 years before the battle. His supporters, loyal to his son, made up the Osaka faction. In Miyamoto, Hideyoshi was considered the greatest of heroes, and Musashi remembered how, as a child, he had sat at the hearth and listened to the tales of the great warrior's prowess. These ideas formed in his youth lingered with him, and even now, if pressed to say which side he favored, he'd probably have said Osaka. Musashi had since learned a few things and now recognized that his actions at the age of 17 had been both mindless and devoid of accomplishment. For a man to serve his lord faithfully, it was not enough to jump blindly into a fray and brandish a lance. He must go all the way to the brink of death. I think a lot of the time, especially now in 2025, we jump in blindly to the fray and brandish our keyboards. We brandish our YouTubes, our X's, our Instagrams without really understanding what we're doing. So, continuing on. If a samurai dies with a prayer for his lord's victory on his lips, he has done something fine and meaningful, was the way Musashi would have put it now. But at the time, neither he nor Marahachi had any sense of loyalty. What they had been thirsting for was fame and glory, and more to the point, a means of gaining a livelihood without giving up anything of their own. It was odd that they should have thought of it that way, having since learned from Takuan that life is a jewel to be treasured. Musashi knew that far from giving up nothing, he and Marahachi had unwittingly been offering their most precious possession. Each had literally wagered everything he had on the hope of receiving a paltry stipend as a samurai. In retrospect, he wondered how they could have been so foolish. Yeah, so this book is based in the 1600s Japan, and even then you can see how history is very symbolic. It's very similar. I think life is precious. You just don't throw it around. Can't get caught up in the waves of nonsense. And I think, I don't know, there's a few things I can cover here in this chapter, but I think I'm just going to leave it there. Today's chapter. I think life is precious. You just can't throw it away for fame and glory, for a couple of clicks. So I'll just leave it there. Peace, everyone, and be well.